Welcome back. You're watching Breakfast Central. Very, I'd say, thought-provoking report there by our man Bernard Akide. Taking a look at Trump's recent reforms in terms of visa entry and the likes. You have Americans who are stuck in Nigeria just because of an adoption case or situation that they found themselves in. But then again, don't forget, stay with News Central. We'll give you updates on that story and that particular family. But welcome to the front pages of the newspapers where you can have your say, and we do have our in-house analyst as well. Please put your hands together as we warmly welcome the one and only, the editor-in-chief of the niche newspaper, Mr. Ikechukwu Amaechi. Thank you.
So when did you start?
Thank you, Joe.
So, did you? I hope you didn't hear what she said. She said, when did you start? I don't know if you
saw that video that went viral.
It's a video that's trending.
Of a young man.
How old are you?
Interviewing this Asho Speed guy that came to Nigeria, and then Egungun went to interview him. I said he's the largest interviewer in Africa, and then started by saying, "Oh, how old are you?" He said, 21.
Say, wow, it's so strong.
Wow, you're so strong and healthy for 21. They said, when did you start? Whoa. While here judging Egungun, he has bought house. So.
Well, that's the materialistic mentality that we have. Is it the house that will stop demand from who he has become? He can have all the house, but it's the personality. But anyway, let's not delve on that. We just have to bring that up because this is a seasoned journalist of repute from decades. We learned under him, so we must give honor to whom honor is due. The Guardian is the first paper I want us to go to, Mr. Amaechi. There's a problem, and we must talk about this problem. This problem is our problem, is your problem watching as well.
And we have to gather together and solve it.
It's on the front picture there.
This one touched Joe personally.
Residents on the brink as rents spike above yearly income in major cities. Nigeria's housing deficit, estimated at nearly 28 million units, continues to widen. That infographic you see there says inflation at 15.15%, but prices remain sticky. Also, incomes have stagnated, rising more slowly than rents. Households struggle to maintain a balance between food, Medicare, and education. Agency fees have contributed to rising rents. Rents in many cities have gone up by at least 100. It's even more than 100%. 200%. I don't know, Mr. Amaechi. Let's just start on a lighter note on this one before we go to before we get ready to go into all of that story, which is the DHU Defense Headquarters. Let me just read through the headlines too, so that we can give our viewers more time to get themselves ready, acquainted with the calls. So I'm going to start off first with a DHQ to court martial indicted officers in coup plot. That's what that story says. They've mentioned their names, 16 of them. They say, don't let 2027 politics undermine governance. CISLAC warns National Assembly. Don't let 2027 politics undermine governance. We hate to break the news to you, but we think it has already. We talked about it early this morning. We're back to politics now. A Christian genocide has gone down the drain. Tax laws. NEFGARD demands probe sanctions over alleged alterations. And let's stop there. We're going to take two of these major stories on The Guardian. The DHQ, I will also take a look at the APC story concerning Kano. But let's come to the housing issue. I don't know what your take is.
Well, I must thank Guardian for the story they did this morning. It is one of those human interest stories that newspapers, in the pursuit of the common good, and must continue to do and from time to time. The housing crisis in Nigeria, or as they framed it in major
cities,
cities in the country, it is one of those crises that people that we are not reporting as we ought to report. But the truth of the matter is that many people can no longer afford decent houses because of the stagnation of income, and then you are talking about 100, 200%. I don't think so. I think it is in the neighborhood of even more than 2,000%. Now, for instance, accommodation that in 2024 that used to go for 1.5 million per annum, perhaps a 1-bedroom or 2-bedroom apartment, depending in which area of Lagos you live. Go to that place now, you can't get it at 4 million. I know of an estate where people were paying 1.5 million for a 3-bedroom flat. Last year, they were all given quick notice, and the landlord said he wanted to renovate and all that. Now, those 3-bedroom flats are going for 5 million. So now what you see is that, there's this joke in town that you were living in Surulere.
So they moved you to...
Then from there, you come over to Ojodubega. And from Ojodubega, you are going to Maboro.
From Maboro, you are going to Ibadan, where you are living very well.
And all that. But it's a very serious crisis. So what you see is that many people are moving from what used to be the city centers and are going to the outskirts, where you don't have the facilities, you don't have the roads, you don't have even electricity and all that. And these people are still the same people who are working in Lagos, who are working in on the island. And you now see people wake up 4 a.m. to prepare for work and leave their houses as early as 5 a.m. if you are to be in your place of work before 8 a.m. as the case may be. And of course, they don't even return until about 11, 12 midnight, and 4 a.m. again, they are off. Now, you ask yourself, how does that impact productivity? How does that even impact on the health?
Life expectancy
of the people? There's this, a friend of mine told me last year of a cousin of his who slumped and died at a bus stop in Ikorodu. He lives in one of those remote parts of Ikorodu, and he goes to work 4 a.m. In fact, he always has his torchlight to go to work, and that torchlight was on when he slumped. And before anybody knew what was happening, he was dead. And it was partly because of exhaustion. The wife says he comes back from work at about 12 midnight every day, and then by 4, he's again on the day. So when does he, and he works almost every other day, every day, except on Sundays. So it is a crisis, and the government is not doing anything to 20-something million housing
deficit.
The question is if the government can actually do something. But we need to go on a very quick break. We'll come back and continue this conversation before we then move on to talk about the sit-at-home order in Anambra State. We'll be right back in a moment. For Central, we're still reviewing the front pages of the papers. I would like to take your comments now, so please head to YouTube where we're streaming live. News Central TV Live is where we're streaming, and drop your comments. We'll be picking comments from the YouTube section. We also want to open the phone line, so if you have, we can take a few calls because we really need to dissect the stories today. Now, we've spoken about rent. Still on the front page of The Guardian, the bottom corner of the front page, we can see there, Soludo orders 1 week closure of Onitsha main market over sit at home. Earlier, we had this conversation with the former National Publicity Secretary of Ohaneze Ndigbo. We have a video of Professor Soludo, the governor of Anambra State, making these, declarations, or we like call them, declarations. But let's take a look at this video. When we come back, I'll have Mr. Amaechi react to it. We'll bring you the video shortly, but just to mention that earlier today when we were having a conversation, we showed you the governor of Anambra State addressing the citizens and ordering them to return to work and return to the market, saying that if they do not return to the market and if they continue to observe the sit-at-home orders, the market will be shut for a month. Yes, you can see clips here. Let's take a look at this audio and then we'll have Mr. Amaechi react.
Anyone who has not opened, for main market of all markets to be shut down. I know that people have done this sit-at-home on Mondays for quite some time now, and as they say, an abomination that lasts a year becomes culture. No, this can no longer go on in Anambra. Are you hearing me? And I will tell you this, you either decide that you want to trade here or you can go elsewhere. This main market, if you don't want it to open, I'll come and take bulldozer and level it. And I'm very, very serious about it. I'm not joking. Going forward, any Monday, any shop that is not open will be locked for 1 week. And let me tell you this. As I'm speaking to you now, when I finish this whole main market and all the adjoining these things will be locked down for the whole of this week. There will be no market anywhere here. Each Monday will come. If people are not in their respective shops, it will be shut down again. If you like, I don't mind shutting down main market for the remainder of this year. We're not going to allow this. It's plain economic sabotage. And also we suspect whoever closes their shop to have some...
Well, you've heard it from the horse's mouth, Mr. Amaechi.
Well, before I go to Soludo and the crisis of the sit-at-home, I was still talking on the
Rent issue.
Yeah.
On the rent issue. So what do we do? You know, the thing is even getting worse when you consider that, for instance, in Lagos, we see a lot of places being pulled down, Mama Coco and all those places. And what does that mean? That people are being pushed into that space where they don't have accommodation again. So it compounds a problem that is already smoldering out there. So, and here is a country where we don't have any kind of mortgage facilities.
Mortgage, yeah.
If you live in societies where you can get mortgage, then you can afford to own your own building and pay over time. Here, it must be cash and carry. If you don't have your own millions, you can't even build. And to build now is also not something any worker that lives on his salary can afford to undertake. A bag of cement is 10,000 naira. So how many bags of cement are you going to buy to build a 3-bedroom bungalow? So all I'm saying is that the government must take this as an existential crisis, because one of the 3 things of man, the most essential needs of man, food, shelter,
and clothing,
and clothing. So if you make destitute out of citizens of this country, because you're going to force them to live under the bridge, is going to affect every other thing, because the uncertainty of not having where to lay your head at the end of the day will affect the schooling of your children. It will affect almost every other thing, calculation you make in life. So, like I said earlier, what Guardian did is a very good report, and I should hope that governments across the country should be able to take housing crisis in Nigeria as a big issue that must be addressed. The same way they declared emergency in security, they should declare emergency in the provision of affordable housing for Nigerians. Now, going back to what Anambra State Governor, Professor Ikechukwu Soludo said, you know, I have argued endlessly that I don't get the idea of this sit at home. And you know, for everything people do, you must look at the end result. What do you intend to achieve by doing this? You've done this now for more than 3 years or so. Billions of naira have been lost. People have been killed for simply coming out on a Monday. People have died because the fear of coming out on Monday prevented those who are sick from getting to the hospitals. Women have been delivered of their children, of their babies at home because they can't go to hospitals on Mondays. Now, it has even become part of the considerations that if you have an event in the Southeast, if it falls on a Monday, they automatically move it to Tuesday because it is on a Monday. You can't even travel out of the Southeast if you have an appointment that you must travel on a Monday for you to meet up on Tuesday. You would rather go on Sunday because people are afraid to travel on Monday. And what is it supposed to achieve? When it first started, the idea was to pressure the government of late Muhammadu Buhari to release the then detained IPOB leader, Nnamdi Kanu. He didn't. You close all businesses. Igbo people are known for trading. They are known for their businesses. And the only livelihood they have, you shut it down every Monday. When every other, in fact, if you cross River Niger and go into Asaba, Delta State, life goes on Mondays. Abuja is bubbling every Monday. Lagos is bubbling every Monday. How do you cut your nose to spite your face? Which is what this nonsense is all about. Now it is almost, even schools, even children don't go to school on Mondays.
Yeah.
In the Southeast again.
Okay.
So what Chukuma Soludo is saying, if you ask me, he has my 100% support.
Okay.
Nnamdi Kanu, before he was not convicted, of course, spoke against this sit at home. So who are those that are enforcing this sit
So
at home?
there's an element that I want us to look at,
yeah.
which is the security element. But let's take a call from Chidi. Good morning, Chidi. Thank you for calling.
Yeah, good morning, Olive and Johansson.
Good morning.
Morning.
And my worthy brother, Amaechi. I want to react to what the governor said. Let us be frank. Why do we have the Monday sit at home at first? How did we get to this point? Something happened. Something brought something up. That is number one. Number two, the governor said he's going to shut down market. On what ground? Did you open the shop for them? Are you the one paying their bills? Don't I have my right to do what I want to do? I'm a private person. I may decide not to go to work on Monday. As I'm talking to you, I may decide not to go to work today. You can't just come and tell me to open my shop. I have my right. I am not under compulsion to do that. So it's like you can take a horse to the stream, but you can't force a horse to drink water. The market is their business. The goods in the shop is their goods. So one can decide, but let us not even talk about, let us talk at less about what happened. How did we get to this point?
Okay.
What is the remedy to this situation? That's all we should be thinking about.
All right. Thank you very much,
Thank you,
Chidi.
Chidi.
Let's take another call from Uche, calling from Abia State. Good morning, Uche. Uche, please go ahead with your comment. Thank you for calling. All right, seems that we've lost the call to Uche. Just to add to something that he said, he said, are they not private citizens? Now, while many people agree that the government can insist for civil servants because they are working for the government, should the government be able to then take away that right from private citizens? How do we find that line between him trying to kick away what he would say is powered by terror and infringing on citizens' rights? Okay, Uche is back. Uche, thank you for calling back. Please go ahead with your comment.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning, Uche.
The issue of sit at home, in Southeast, majority of Southeasterners are not in support of sit at home. But the security agencies, what are they doing? Let me tell you people, personal experience. I produce a little something, I have workers. On Mondays, when the heat was on, we'll go to market. One of my drivers was passing through a checkpoint, military checkpoint. They warned my driver that if anything happens to him, he should not call them. I don't know whether you're getting me. These are the people that should encourage people to do what? To come out. But they are warning us. In my own local government, I'm from Ohatia local government. Ohatia will shut down on Monday, whereas Umuahia, the capital, where even the local government, where Nnamdi Kanu comes from, are busy on Mondays. We have the largest army barracks in Ohatia, the largest in Nigeria. What are they doing? You can't force people like the first caller said. We are not in a military regime, according to Soludo. But what is he doing? Soludo goes with about security personnel, maybe 200 or 100. And what has he kept in the market for those people? That's the question people will be asking. People are willing to come out, but the governors, what are they doing? God bless you people.
Thank you very much,
right.
Uche. I think we have
The points both Chude and Chede made are valid. But my point is that when you say that, look, these are private businesses and therefore they ought to do as they like, it doesn't necessarily go that way. And has he also factored in the fact that there are sanctions on people who defy and come to the markets on Mondays? So what right has the unions, now the market unions, what right do they have to also say those who want to open their markets on Monday that you can't come? Can you come to the market on Monday if you want to open your shop? Will you have access now to the market?
So they are perpetrating that restriction by fear.
Exactly.
With the instrument of fear.
Exactly.
Should the government also be applying the instrument of fear as well?
Exactly. So, no, whether what we are looking at, what we should be asking is what serves public interest most. Is it closing the market every Monday? What is the end game? What do they intend to achieve? What point are they trying to make? Is this still the release of Nnamdi Kanu or what? What is driving this issue?
Which is sort of what you were saying, that we should go back to the root of the problem.
Like the second person said, okay, the root of the problem is in Nnamdi Kanu, like I said earlier. But the government, in its own wisdom, has refused. Igbo leaders, before Ikechukwu Amaechi died, before the former governor of Anambra State died, they all went and pleaded with Buhari. They have pleaded with Tinubu, and all to no avail. Now, Nnamdi Kanu has been tried and convicted. Of course, he's going on appeal. Do we shut down Alibo? What impact is it having on people in the southeast, is the sit at home having any impact whatsoever on the people who are sitting down in Aso Rock? So, in enlightened self-interest, how can we be shooting ourselves on the foot?
So I think many people agree with you that the sit-at-home doesn't serve Ndigo, right?
It
However,
doesn't.
people are afraid for their lives. Shouldn't the focus be on the government sharing strategies to ensure that they are guaranteeing the security of citizens? Because I believe that if a number of them knew that they will go to their markets and nothing will happen to them with their businesses, they will show up. But let's hear from Osas. Osas is calling from River State. Good morning, Osas.
Yeah, good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Please go ahead with your comment.
Yes, I want to comment on the... Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Please go ahead.
Okay. I want to make comment on the Anambra State Government remark. I think Professor Charles Soludo is getting it wrong. He's getting it wrong. First of all, do you know that people have been killed in that Anambra or the Southeast? A lot of people have been killed because of this state at home. And there are neighbors that know their neighbors that were killed. If fear of that will also not allow them to come to shop, you will know that it will scare them away because they know somebody that was killed because of that. So how many of these criminals have Professor Charles Soludo been able to identify and arrest? Then the other part, if you want that market to be open every Monday, him and his commissioners to come and have a shop there, let all of them come and open their shop. Once they see that the governor is in that market with his commissioner, I guarantee you, everybody in Anambra or in that main market that is trying to shut down, it will all be in the market. The governor should not be in Oka and expect those people who are exposed to insecurity to just go to the shop and open there. He should come, him and all his commissioners, he should come and open shop, have a shop there.
All right, and let's take one more call so that... Thank you so much, Osas. Let's hear from Kelechi from Abia, and then we would have to pause for a bit to get a reaction from Mr. Amaechi. Kelechi, please go ahead with your comment.
Yeah, good morning. Okay, please, I want to comment on this issue concerning Soludo blocking or closing down the shops in Onitsha. The guest has the right to his own opinion, but I think it is just like commending a doctor who is managing a symptom without treating the root cause of that symptom. When you commend such a doctor, definitely you will get it back. I mean, you get it wrong. And that's one of the reasons some of the measures we are putting up is not. Somebody called, one of the callers made mention of the army, the security warning them not to go, not to proceed with their movement, the consequences of that movement. The security, what are the security doing about this? Anybody who becomes a collateral, who gets to lose his life in this process, we don't bring him or her back. So I think we are missing it. We are treating the symptoms without managing the root. If you manage the root cause of this or the cause of this particular symptom, the symptoms will disappear without any much effort. And I think the governor, in fact, the government with that particular measure. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kelechi. And on YouTube, we have Prince Ajibade says, why will you lock my shop because I chose not to sell on a particular day? No, let me get my shop. I can decide to sell on Friday alone. Victor Okebata says, Soludo is becoming a monarch. He should be worried about government workers and provide security for them. If serious, let him provide adequate security. Fear is a deterrent, he says.
Look, almost everybody is saying the same thing. I've not seen anybody who commented here who is saying that this sit at home is doing any good to the people. Now, if the issue is what security measures is the governor putting in place to ensure that people are not killed when they venture out, because eventually, what those who are going ahead with this sit at home, what they will do is that they will be waiting and, of course, kill one or two people, God forbid. Kill one or two people tomorrow who attempt to come out on Monday so that others will be scared now from coming out on Monday. So it behoves the governor to ensure that there is adequate security for anybody who decides to defy this sit at home, which nobody as at now is owning up to. IPOB leader said it is not him. IPOB has also distanced itself. IPOB as an organization has distanced itself from this sit at home. So who is enforcing this sit at home, and in whose interest? What are we trying to achieve as a people, as Ndibo, by shutting down our businesses every Monday, by shutting down schools every Monday, by making Alibo a ghost town, a ghost region every Monday? Who is doing this? Yes, when it started initially, it was an attempt to pressure the federal government to release Nnamdi Kanu. It didn't succeed. So why are we still on that tangent? Why are we still continuing with doing what has not succeeded? So if the argument, and I fully subscribe to it, if the argument is, how do we tax Nasoludo? It is not enough to say every Monday, if you don't open your shop, I'll close it now for 1 week. It's not enough to say that. How do you ensure, because you are the chief security officer of the state, how do we ensure that anybody who listens to you and comes out every Monday will come out and go back home alive?
I think you have said it. You've really hit the nail on the head. You know, and that's what majority of people, yes, there are those who agitate that, you know, they might still want to continue this for the reason it was established, but majority of people
they are in the minority.
Yes,
they are in the minority.
Are saying, if they are going to come out, are they going to go back home alive? Will they go back with their businesses, you know, survive that? We are out of time. We have like 3 minutes to end the show. But I do want us to take a story on the front page of the leadership, just to still, again, further highlight some of the challenges we're dealing with as a nation. The bottom corner of the leadership newspaper says, Komenwali village head says bandits are demanding 250 million naira and 20 motorcycles to release abductees. This is where we are as a nation. But the big story on the front page of the leadership is Yusuf's deputy faces tough situation over refusal to defect. According to ex-deputy governor, my joining APC is for stability, progress of our state, says Kanu government, as quickly as you can. We had a guest earlier who is of the opinion that Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf moving to the APC is not a betrayal to Kwankwaso, but it's a strategic plan. That is all political strategy. That is like a forerunner going ahead of Kwankwaso before Kwankwaso would then eventually move to the APC or maybe the ADC.
Look, Olive, I'm sick and tired of the antics of Nigerian politicians. Let them play their game. Nobody's betraying anybody. One of the qualities you must have to be a successful Nigerian politician is that you must be a betrayer.
Very facts.
It is as simple as that. If you don't have the capacity to betray,
then you can't be a politician.
You can't be a Nigerian politician.
Okay, Nigerian politician.
If you don't have that quality, so I don't have any sympathy when Kwakwanso comes out to say that Governor Yusuf, jumping ship is the height of betrayal. All of them, that is what they do. That is, when you hear that somebody is an astute politician, it then means the guy has the capacity to betray. It then means the guy has the capacity to walk back on agreements. So whatever Yusuf is doing is for no. He has said that it is to take a Kano to the center. Okay, since democracy returned in 1999, Kano has been with the center. Kwakwanso, as governor, was a member of the PDP. And PDP was in power at the center. He was even at the time defense minister also.
Yes.
Ganduje and all that. So what did Kano benefit all those years that they were aligned with the center? What is it that they have lost in the last 3 years because they are no longer aligned with the center? Those other governors that have also defected to APC. What advantage has it added to them? The only thing is that perhaps they are immune from the harassment that people like Governor of Osun State, Adeleke, is now facing. Because if Adeleke were to be a member of the APC, the federal government will not seize the allocation of
the local government.
Despite the ruling of the courts. So there is nothing, it has to do with selfish personal aggrandizement. It has nothing to do with the people. So when they come to frame this in the decision of fighting for the people, I get irritated.
And I really hope that, when we go to the polls, people can remember that politicians will always put their own personal interests before your
I doubt whether Nigerians...
And I hope that we will remember that when it's time to vote.
I doubt whether Nigerians will remember. I've not seen the people like this before.
Wow, we're very, very patient. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We'll be back again tomorrow. Jasiri comes up next time. Olive, MOD.
I'm Joe Hansen, and thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you to our virtual audience as well as those who called in. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.